Have you ever wondered why U.S. lunches are so short and rushed compared to places like Brazil and the rest of Latin America? Hi, I'm Jason, and this is Jason's Easy English, a podcast that helps you improve your English and learn about American culture with clear, understandable episodes in everyday, authentic language. Today, we're going to talk about the three main meals in the United States: breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and how they compare to Brazil and other Latin American countries. And just a quick reminder, if you enjoy this content, don't forget to follow or subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So first, let me say something very important. When we talk about culture, especially when we make comparisons, we're often making generalizations. That means we're talking about what is common, not what's true for everyone. In the U.S., many people eat in different ways, and things are changing all the time, especially as social media spreads trends across different countries. For example, some Americans are having smaller dinners and eating later, while some American breakfast staples like pancakes or waffles have become popular weekend treats in Brazil. So keep that in mind as we go through this. Let's start with breakfast. In the United States, breakfast is often quick and simple. Many people just grab something and go. You might hear the expression, grab something on the go. That means to take food quickly and eat while you're moving. So instead of sitting down for a long meal, like you might see in the movies, someone might eat a piece of toast, some cereal, or a breakfast bar on their way to work. In Brazil, breakfast, or café da manhã, can also be simple, but it often includes fresh fruit like papaya, banana, or mango. People might sit down, drink coffee with milk, and eat bread with butter or cheese. Now here's a cultural detail. In the U.S., coffee is usually bigger and sometimes taken to go. People often carry large cups while walking or driving. Next, let's talk about lunch, the most interesting cultural difference. In the U.S., lunch is usually short. Many workers only get 30 minutes, and sometimes even less. So people often eat quickly at their desks or order something fast. Since their lunch break is so short, American workers often eat at their desk. This is actually very common in American office culture. In fact, many times, 3 or 4 times a week, I will have my lunch sitting at my desk. In contrast, in Brazil, lunch is usually the main meal of the day. People take more time, sometimes an hour or more, and they tend to eat a full meal: rice, beans, some kind of meat, and a salad or vegetables. Many people in Brazil often make a special effort to go home for lunch if they live close enough to work. If not, they might go out with colleagues and order a PF, or prato feito. In Brazil, the prato feito is a simple, complete meal with rice, beans, and sides that's sold for a very affordable price. So another useful phrase we could discuss here is to take a proper break. Unlike in the United States, in many parts of Latin America, people take a proper break for lunch, meaning that they actually stop working and rest for a real, significant, meaningful period of time as they enjoy their food. And some Brazilians might even take a quick nap after lunch before going back to work or school. So obviously in Portuguese, to take a nap is tirar cochilo, or in Spanish, tomar or echar una siesta. So that's something you almost never see in a typical U.S. workplace or work day. But again, things are changing. Some companies now encourage longer breaks or offer flexible schedules. Now, let's move on to dinner. In the United States, dinner is usually eaten earlier than in Brazil. Many families eat around 6 or 7 p.m. In Brazil, dinner is often later, sometimes around 8 p.m. or even 9 p.m. or later in some cases for some families. And sometimes dinner is not a big meal. It can be a light snack-style dinner, right? What they call um lanche, like a sandwich or something quick. So there's another phrase we could introduce here, which is to sit down for dinner, right? Which means to eat a meal together at the table. Sentar para jantar. Sentarse a cenar in Spanish. In the U.S., families often try to sit down for dinner together, especially during the week. However, just like lunch, dinner can also be quick. Some people don't cook. They might just heat up leftovers, right? That means to warm up food that was already cooked before. Esquentar sobras or calentar las sobras. Leftovers are very common in American homes. People may cook a big meal and eat it again the next day. Another expression is to eat out. So to eat at a restaurant instead of at home. So when it comes to dinner, Americans try to sit down for dinner. They may heat up leftovers or they may eat out. In the U.S., eating out is very common, especially on weekends. And in both countries, something else is becoming popular. People are starting to meal prep, which means to prepare meals in advance for several days. In Portuguese, preparar refeições con antecedencia, or in Spanish, preparar comidas con anticipación. This obviously helps to save time during busy weekdays. Now let's talk a little bit about weekends because this is where things can change a lot. In the U.S., many people enjoy brunch. The word brunch is a combination of the words breakfast and lunch. So it's a meal that combines breakfast and lunch foods, usually eaten late in the morning, anytime from 10:30 or 11 until 2 o'clock or 2:30 p.m. Brunch is often social. People meet up with friends, go to restaurants, take their time. They may transition from coffee to beer a little bit later. And interestingly, brunch is becoming more popular throughout Brazil as well, especially in big cities. Social media and global culture are influencing eating habits in both countries. So again, cultures are not fixed. They change over time, especially now with social media. So to summarize this section, American meals are often faster, sometimes more individual, especially during the week. While in Brazil and much of Latin America, meals, particularly lunch, are more social, more relaxed. But there are always exceptions. Some Americans cook every day and eat slowly, and some Brazilians have very fast schedules and routines. All right, I hope that was interesting and understandable. Before I let you go, let's review the main points of today's podcast. Today, we talked about the 3 main meals in the United States and how they compare to Brazil. We saw that breakfast in the U.S. is often quick, and people may grab something on the go. That was the expression, grab something on the go. While in Brazil, it often includes fresh fruit. For lunch, we learned that many Americans eat at their desk. They eat at their desk. While in Brazil, people often take a proper break. They may go home to eat or enjoy a prato feito, a PF, and sometimes even take a quick nap after lunch. For dinner, families sometimes sit down for dinner, but meals can also be simple, like when people heat up leftovers or have a snack-style dinner. In Brazil, lanche. And finally, we talked about modern habits, like people who eat out, enjoy brunch, or are into meal prepping to save time during the week. We also remembered that cultural comparisons are always generalizations, and things are always changing. Well, that's it for today's episode. I hope you were able to understand most of it and learn something new. Be sure to follow or subscribe to my podcast, and please share Jason's Easy English with your friends who are also learning English. Thanks again for listening, and I'll see you at the next episode.